if you noticed in my review, I was blaming a lot of China's uh, misgivings, her struggles on the people in her lives. It's her dad's fault. It's her mom's fault. It's these three idiots, Eric, Anthony, and Rob, who enabled her and drove her even further into darkness. And let me just get something straight. They do deserve some blame. Let's not kid ourselves. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and say, you know what, Chyna should take responsibility. It's all her fault, because it wasn't all her fault. Now, I will say now, here in front of you, yes, she is responsible, and she was partially the reason why she got to that point in her life. Because instead of getting help, instead of seeking guidance, she chose drugs. She chose drinking. She chose to go to her vices to numb herself, so she did not have to think about that. She could have sought help herself. She could have made the decision to go, I am tired of relying on drugs. She didn't do that. She made that decision herself, and so she needed help. She needed a lot of help. And I feel like when it comes to me, and I look at Chyna comparing to myself, I don't want to say it's the same person, but that is what I do. You know, instead of owning a lot of my own shit and getting better, what I do is blame others. I used to do that all the time, because it's like I'm doing everything that I possibly can to be the best person, to make you happy, to make you want to see me. Why don't you want to be in my life? Why is it that everybody that comes into my life leaves? It must be something wrong with them. It's not me. It's you. You're the reason. You're crazy. You're out of your mind. No, the reality is I did not see I was responsible. Now, although partially true that a lot of the issues back in my past that those people had that left me, yeah, they had issues as well. They also had issues as well. They were also not very mature, and we were just not meant for each other. That is true. But the reality of the situation is I am held responsible for my relationships and what I do. And it's very hard when you grow up being told that to be a good person, you have to have this, 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 and this. You have to have a good job. You have to have a wife. You have to have children. You have to go to church. You have to be able to take care of yourself. You have to be able to show that you are independent and can't rely on anybody. You have to go to college, get a degree. You have to make a lot of money. All that jazz. And then waking up one day to realize that you are just unable to do all that. Like, you are not meeting those standards. Like, when it all starts to pile onto you, that's rough. It's very easy for someone who was able to meet those standards to say, okay, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. But when you're someone that doesn't, you get called a loser, you get called a failure, you get called all this shit, and it doesn't matter how hard you try, it doesn't change anything. So what do? You self-medicate, you drink, you do drugs, you do whatever you have to do to forget about it. You find some kind of a vice. Or you seek help. For those first 20 years, I chose vices. And I'm not scared to say that. After about a good amount of time, though, I sought therapy. You know, I was able to do something Joanie could not do. I was blessed and fortunate enough to come to those senses and to have enough of a support system, which Joanie did not have. Again, I'm fortunate to have that, to do it. Because it's in the documentary. It was either her sister or her friend. Somebody took Joanie to a mental hospital. And Joanie, walked out. So, like, that very example, it goes to show you she has to take some responsibility. Someone did try to help her. It's not like no one helped her. So it's hard. Unless you are mature and confident and able to get control of your emotions and not do what I did, it's very hard to sit through. It is not an easy documentary to watch. It's not. Not for everybody. But it is an excellent documentary. It's very well made. So I am going to go through it again, and I'm seeing a lot more people come in. I noticed that the numbers were pretty low because this is not being done on my laptop. This is being done on my phone. So, hi. Come on in. Yes, once again, this is a redo of my other live review, and this was going to be a lot more professional. I'm going to get through this one without... I'm going to try to get through this one without going crazy, ranting and raving. I don't make any promises because I'm probably going to get angry when I talk about those idiots. Eric, Anthony, and Rob. But let's talk about Chyna. Let's keep it on the ninth wonder of the world. I loved that the documentary revisited her past. It talked about her struggles with her family, how when she was living with her parents, her dad stabbed her mom and walked out. And for some particular reason, Chyna just never had a relationship with her mom. They never really delved into that. It just was not there. They just never had a strong relationship. And that was interesting. You know what I mean? It was one of those things you have to think about for a second. Like, okay, that's new. But we quickly move into her time as a wrestler, how she was just different. She was built different. She looked different. She's not what you would call the average female. She wasn't eye candy. And back in 1996, oh, you rarely saw someone like Chyna. So when you see this Amazon of a woman show up in the ring to help Triple H, instant star. Instantly. All that talk about Chyna being one of the most popular wrestlers of the Attitude Era, she was. I put her in the top 5. Probably top 3. Austin's number 1. The Rock's number 2. You can probably say Taker was number 3. 4. Honestly, if it's not Chyna, I guess Mankind, Mick Foley. DX, perhaps, somewhere in there. But yeah, for sure, Chyna was instrumental for that Attitude Era. Very instrumental. She was a poster child for a lot of reasons. And that pressure probably drove her to do some things she didn't want to do. And it's incredible to know why she got into wrestling, because it ties all into why people like me were in the state that I was. When it comes to Joanie, all she wanted was to be loved. I don't think we can dispute that. All Joanie wanted was to be loved. She wanted people to love her. She wanted to feel loved. And she just never felt loved. She never knew what that felt like until she got into WWE, where she had millions. I'm talking God celebrity status. Because keep this in mind, like, we only have a couple million people watching wrestling nowadays. During the Attitude Era, 6 million, 7 million, 8 million. She couldn't go anywhere. She literally couldn't leave her house. She couldn't go to the store. She was that popular. So you go from a life of being told that you're not pretty, being told that you're not very attractive, that you're not going to be anything, that you're not a woman, being bullied in school, which she was, to now having millions of people love you, want to be just like you. And then you have WWE say, we're going to need you to look a little bit more feminine. What are you going to do? You're going to do what they want you to do because you want to keep your job. You don't want to lose that. Why would you want to lose that? And then you see this woman start doing things that to this day has never been done before. Chyna became the first woman to legitimately wrestle against men and it feel believable. You can put a goddamn Trish Stratus or Lita against anybody, but you would go, no, that doesn't feel realistic. Chyna felt realistic. You could have a Chyna go in there and go toe to toe with a Triple H or an X Pac or a Rock or a Mankind or Mark Henry, D'Lo Brown, and you would believe it. She looks like she can kick anybody's ass. But you go from that being a 2-time IC champion to then being told, we need you to get surgery. We need you to look a little bit more feminine, which she does. She changes her look, gets plastic surgery, and then she becomes a diva. Now, I don't think it's a secret that back in the 2000s especially, Chyna was hot. Like, I went back and watched some of her matches, some of her promos. She was very attractive. Oh my goodness. Like, whatever they wanted her to do, she made that happen. So, you have a company woman who's willing to do anything and everything. It makes it even sadder that they released her. Not because she did anything wrong. People say that she demanded to be paid the same amount as Austin and Rock because that's her star power, that's her star level. You can argue maybe she's not that popular, but when you think about the Attitude Era, yeah, she should have been getting somewhere close to that. So she had every right to value herself and demand more money. Unfortunately, I don't think that's why they released her. We all know why they released Chyna. They released Chyna because Triple H cheated on her. And to protect Triple H, who cheated on her with Stephanie McMahon, because he did. He did that. That's not anybody making things up. Triple H cheated on Chyna with Stephanie McMahon. So to protect them, they eliminated Chyna from the equation and they just pretended she didn't exist. A woman that transcended wrestling. One of the very few wrestlers, period, to transcend wrestling into pop culture status. They just pretended she never existed. That fucked her up. That fucked her up. So that pain of feeling like you were a failure, feeling like you are hated by everybody involved, the man that you consider to be the love of your life leaving you for someone else, there must be something wrong with me. Oh my God, why would he do it? I did the best that I could to be the best person to him, and he still loved me. What do you do in that situation? You drink. You do drugs. That's why people do it. It's a vice to numb themselves from the hardships of life. And it was just even harder for her because she was a celebrity. See, I'm just a nobody. Some of you might consider me a celebrity somewhat, and I appreciate that, but I'm not. I'm still a nobody in terms of the YouTube space. So me going through my things isn't going to be as severe as hers. It was double as hard for her when she was a celebrity because everything that she does and everything that she says gets caught by the news. So then it gets blown up across the entire spectrum of entertainment, and it comes back to hit her just as hard, if not harder. It was hard with Chyna. And then you had people in her life enabling her. Again, we can say that she can take responsibility for herself and not, she didn't get help and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's true. But she had people enabling her bad behavior. She had people like Sean Waltman. She had a lot of people who were already on drugs, who were already in a dark place, driving her further down that path. And they should take responsibility for it. Triple H should take responsibility because he cheated on her. He put her in that spot to do more drugs. So, no. I'm sorry. I'm not going to put it all on Chyna. Anyone that says it's all Chyna's fault, you're an idiot. Okay? What happened with Chyna was a combination of a lot of fucked up shit in her life. And it's sad because they talk about her time in Japan, where she was actually very well beloved, very well liked. Like, she could have actually made a career in Japan. She could have. But it just wasn't the same. It wasn't the same, and she was already in a dark place by that point. She got released. And once again, oh, nobody wants me. Oh, nobody understands me. I must be a burden to people's lives. Suicide thoughts. Suicide thoughts. So, at the very least, I'm happy she decided to get away from it. She decided to just get away from it. She went to Japan to become a teacher. And I would love to think that if we had just left her alone, if these three idiots, and I'm going to get to them, if they had just left her alone and did not drudge up her past, and they just let Chyna mature and by herself get to that point where she wanted to find help and get better, then yes, I do feel like, in my personal opinion, she would have gotten to a point where she would have bettered herself, and eventually WWE would have felt the need to put her in the Hall of Fame. But, you know, all this talk about her doing porn, okay? Why are we acting like everybody in the Hall of Fame is perfect? There are legit murderers in the Hall of Fame, WWE Hall of Fame. There are racists, there are misogynists, there are felons, drug addicts. All these people that if you look up their name, it's not a good representation of the company. Yet they're there. And all Chyna did was have sex. Oh, I'm sorry. It's like this whole recent thing with Batman where DC told the TV show Harley Quinn, the animated producers for the TV show Harley Quinn, hey, you can't have Batman give oral sex to Catwoman. You can't have him eating the pussycats, you know what? And you're just like, so Batman can't have sex. Why? Because kids are not going to buy the toys, or the parents won't let the kids buy the toys if Batman's having sex. I'm just like, okay, wait a minute. So are we just supposed to pretend that every person that all the toys that I bought, I used to buy Power Ranger toys all the goddamn time. I am pretty sure Tommy was piping the fuck out of Kimberly on a daily basis. You can't tell me those two didn't bang at least double digits amounts. Shoot, she probably was banging the other ones too. There was a point in time she was with Jason. Now, you know they did something. I'm just saying. Like, doesn't really matter what they were doing because they're human. I'm going to buy the toy because I want it. So that was dumb. The whole situation with DC saying, oh, sorry, we don't want Batman having sex because the kids are not going to buy the toys. They're going to buy the toys regardless. Same thing with WWE. We don't want Chyna to be in the Hall of Fame because it's a bad representation for the kids. Shut up. That's such a dumb, backhanded, mind-bogglingly bold-faced lie by Triple H. The reason you don't want to have Chyna in the Hall of Fame is because you're scared to face the reality that you cheated on her. And you already know that if you bring her in, that's exactly what was going to happen. So, everybody contributes somewhat to what happened with Chyna. And then we get to these idiots. Keep it together, Alyx. Keep it together. Eric, Anthony, and Rob were the producers, managers, editors, the people in charge of the reconstruction of Chyna documentary, which was supposed to be the previous one. What they did with this documentary was basically take that documentary and just add on top of that amongst getting the interviews of the three producers. And right from Jump Street, they realized this was a mistake. Within 5 days, the whole documentary fell to shit. Because the whole point of it was, we are going to reconstruct Chyna and make her feel whole again. Bring her back to prominence, make her find herself, make her happy, and then ultimately get her in the Hall of Fame. That's what they told her. And of course, Chyna's going to go, let's do it. You know, because that poor girl doesn't know any better. Let me put some more lights in here. I think it might be a little too dark. How do I look? Oop. I just pulled the Eva Marie. How do I look? I look great? Cool. So, yeah, they told her all this stuff and she, you know, she bought it. Yeah, I'll do it. Yeah, sure. Yeah, because that's what she wants. They fed on her. And these idiots, instead of helping her get to that point and being responsible enough to go, yeah, we're not going to help her. We're just going to cut this off. They enabled her. The freaking director, Eric, oh, if I ever see him, I am going to, I want to do something bad. I want to choke him. I'm going to do something to him. Choke him, kick him, run him over, set him on fire. Whatever. I'm going to do something violent to him. For real. The way he just acted so nonchalant, like a petulant child. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, man, I was on heroin. I did drugs. And yeah, maybe I should. I drove her into killing herself. But you know what? I got the footage. At least that's good money there, right there, right? Yeah, I got the footage. I did the documentary. You know, he just... Whoo! I'm so happy he got arrested. I am so happy they arrested his ass because fuck him. Fuck him to the umpteenth degree. He was the epitome of a fucked up man. Fuck him. Okay, I'm not going to apologize for saying that. And then we got Anthony. Anthony, who essentially made Chyna do things she did not want to do. Didn't have her consent, but he told her, you have to do this because it's going to make you better. Someone just asked me, what did Eric get arrested for? Drugs. Drug possession. In the documentary, they said not too long after they interviewed him, he was arrested for drug possession and heroin. Good. When he gets out, I'm still going to kick his ass. But Anthony, that's another thing too about all these guys trying to help her. All three of them themselves needed help. Eric in particular, but Anthony as well. Anthony was not all there. Because, first off, it started off with him trying to go see her dead father, which drudged up a lot of feelings. Having to talk to her mom again, which, again, it's just a reminder of how much people don't, how she feels like people don't like her. Making her go to the WWE headquarters and demand that she be put in the Hall of Fame, get in Triple H's face, which I believe was around the time Piper died. You know what I mean? Like, they made her do all this stuff, and all it did was just push her deeper into depression. You know what I mean? It's a mess. It was like watching a train head to a cliff and there was nothing you can do about it. At some point in time, when I was watching this documentary, I just yelled, somebody help her. This woman is screaming for help. But they didn't care about that. They were just in it for themselves. They used her. They used her for their own bullshit. And I'm sorry, like, even right now, I feel like if they had just left her the fuck alone, she would be alive today. I would like to think that. I don't know. Maybe she would have, I do believe in somewhat predetermined destiny. Maybe that would have happened regardless. Maybe. However, I still believe, ultimately, we probably could have seen some type of redemption arc for her if they would have just left her alone. She would have found the strength to eventually get back to, all right, I need to clean myself up and then talk to my, my mother and all that kind of stuff. But all this stuff with Anthony and her, where he was clearly taking advantage of her, living with her. I don't even know if they dated. They probably were just sleeping with each other. It was just a lot of craziness. The one thing that really pissed me off was the final shot. When they were talking to her before she killed herself. Makeup was running down her face. And they're just asking her questions. Just bombarding her with questions. And I'm just sitting there going, will one of you get a fucking heart? Stop trying to use her as a cash cow and get her some help. I think Rob was the only person that he said it. I don't know if he actually did, but he's like, will you please get her some fucking help? I'm like, everybody, I'm saying it. When you're watching it, you're going to be saying it. Get her some help. Help her. Please, for the love of Christ, help her. Help her. Oh my goodness. But we all know what eventually happens. They leave after a fallout. I think Anthony returns one day. You see Chyna in bed, and they show the footage of her lying in bed, overdose. I think it was painkillers, drinking, and some other drug, but yeah, suicide. I had to really take a good look at myself after how that affected me, because clearly something about my past is still not quite done with either. If there's anything I can take from this documentary, this life is short. The only person that can make you happy is yourself. It's good to have friends, it's good to have a support system, but only you can make yourself happy. All this codependency, reliance on everybody else to get their shit together so you can be happy, it's never going to get that way. You're never going to get to a point in your life, or I'm never going to get to a point in my life, where everybody is perfect, everybody has everything together. It's never going to happen. So you have to do what you need to do to bring some kind of peace and love to your life, in your life, which is why every day I come up here and I tell you guys, please take care of yourselves. I love you. Thank you for making me a part of your day, because I have to facilitate that. I have to bring that energy, because if I don't, more than likely I would be where Chyna is. Period. So I hate that her life ended that way. She deserved better. I wish the people in her life were, at some point in time, more compassionate than they were. Just to put it simply. That being said, yes, to all the people saying she deserves some responsibility for not getting help, for not doing what she had to do to take care of herself because she didn't love herself enough to do that. Yeah, okay, sure. She does deserve some responsibility. Because once again, her sister, I think it was, took her to a mental hospital and she walked out. She could have done the process, done the work, and gotten better. And then she would still be alive today. Chyna should not be dead. That's the tragedy of it all. She should not be dead. But she is. And only then did they put her in the Hall of Fame. Only then did WWE put Chyna in the Hall of Fame. That is sad. That is downright heartbreaking. She deserves better. But the memory of Chyna will always live on. To me, she's going to go down in history as one of the most popular, most talented female wrestlers of any generation. Someone just said that this is a black mark on WWE's track record. It is. Yeah, they are responsible for this. Because Chyna, the way she got released, you can say, oh, she wanted more money. Okay. What Playboy? The popularity status that she was at? Okay, like, why wouldn't she have the same amount of money as an Austin or a Rock? You would think you would do what you have to put her in. You know what I mean? It's just, she was a poster child. That's why you didn't renew her contract? Bullshit. You didn't renew her contract because you were trying to protect Triple H. Period. Period. End of story. Anyone argue otherwise, I'm not trying to hear it. It is tragic that she's gone. And I pray and hope that going forward that we're able to learn from this. We're able to grow from this. We're able to better ourselves from this. I'm certainly going to do it. So I want to apologize once again for how I handled that last review. That was not me. That was unbecoming of me. This is more of what I wanted to do. This is a much more concise, to the point review. I was very accurate about my feelings towards the people in the review, while also putting the blame where it deserved to be putting the blame where it deserved to be put. On Chyna. She wasn't necessarily an angel. I think it's easy for us to feel that way because she's dead, but she wasn't an angel when she was alive. You know, I think she accused X-Pac of rape at one point, right? That wasn't okay. You know, bombarding Triple H in the WWE headquarters. Yeah, you can put that on Anthony, but she should have known better. You know, we can't blame everybody for everything she did. You know, she chose drugs. She chose alcohol. When she could have, at that point in time, made the call to go do something else. Now, she got on drugs at a very young age. So, you know, a lot of times when you're a teenager and you're influenced by drugs because you want to fit in or because you want to get through high school, a lot of that it's very nuanced. That's very complicated. Regardless, the opportunity for help, it came. She just didn't take it because she wasn't willing to accept that it was her fault. Because people like her, like I was at one point in my life, we blame others. It's your fault. You did this to me. So, let's learn from this. Let's be better people. Thank you guys for watching. I feel so much better about this review. I doubt it will get more views. I don't care. I do not care about the views. All I care about is the quality of the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like the video, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time right here in Alyx's World. God bless you. You guys take it easy. I love you. Take care of yourselves.